Like the other mini dish systems or DBS systems on the market, there are a predictable number of components, including the dish or reflector, the support structure for the dish, the LNB, a manual that describes how to install and some of the features that might include, in this case, the packing list, the nuts and bolts to attach the components together, the remote control and batteries for controlling the system, the smart card for activating the system to receive DSS programming. Cables include a phone cable that hooks your receiver to the phone line so you can communicate back to the DPS broadcast center. Coaxial cable for hooking your receiver to your television. There's two in this case, one with F connectors and one with S VHS connectors. Remember, if any of these components are missing, contact your dealer immediately so he can replace them as soon as possible. And now let's get down to the step-by-step detailed installation procedure. Once you're sure that all the components are here, the next step is to install the support structure to the reflector. In this case, it pops right on the back of the dish, and you use the washers, and then on top of the washer, the nut. Make sure the washers are behind the nuts. With your 7/16 inch wrench, tighten all the bolts. Make sure the bolts are inserted properly through the hole so they sit properly. Once we have connected the television, the RF jack into the television, we connect the other end into the out-to-television jack on the satellite receiver. Now we can turn on the satellite receiver and the television and use the menu to help us find the aiming angles for the satellite dish. If we press the up arrow key to system setup and press enter, on some remotes, instead of enter, you press a key titled select. We come to the next menu. Then if we press the down arrow key, we get to installation, and we press enter. Again, we choose the down arrow key to point dish/signal from this menu. We come to the point dish and signal strength screen. Now we use the cursor to take us to the zip code field. We enter our zip code of 91326. This gives us our azimuth angle and our elevation angle. The azimuth angle is the compass heading that we have to aim the dish towards. The elevation angle is the elevation above horizon that we have to aim the dish to see the satellite high in the sky. At this point, make sure you note down the azimuth and the elevation angle. We'll need them for later use when we go outside and install the dish. Now you can press save to get back to the previous menu. And now let's go install the system once we have the angles. Having determined the elevation angle, we can now set it on the dish by rotating the elevation bar back and forth. In this case, it's 50 degrees, and we have to set the red marker to the 50-degree mark, which is just about there. And we don't necessarily tighten the bolts now. We just want to make sure it's fairly secure. We can just snug them down, and we're going to be doing fine-tuning later in the installation.
Finding the azimuth and elevation settings on the other brands is similar. The screens may be different as pictured, but the process and results are the same.
Satellite installation kits contain a checklist. Let's go over the items that are necessary to correctly install your system. The parts list on your particular kit may vary from what is shown here. First, we have the cable ties and nail clips, coaxial cable, grounding materials, telephone components, your inline splice, duplex connectors, and phone cord, grounding block, necessary cables, RCA and S-video, all hardware needed for properly mounting your dish, and last but definitely not least, a compass. These are all the tools you'll need to install your system.
Your installation site should be a safe distance from power lines, have a clear line of sight to the satellite, and provide the shortest and best route to your receiver. You may install your dish on a pole, a wall, on your roof, a chimney, on a brick or cement wall, or a wood deck.
Frank, according to the compass here, our satellite should be right about there. And I think this is our best selection for the dish to be mounted right here.
Yeah, I agree. The location on the roof and on the chimney were more exposed to the wind. On the wall, the cable run was longer,
Yes.
and on the ground, it wasn't exactly an easy cable run. So in this situation, I agree with you.
Let's do it.
Great.
First, mark the holes for the foot. Next, drill pilot holes then screw a lag bolt into the pilot hole. Tighten the base with the first lag bolt. Level the base and drill the other holes and fasten remaining lag bolts. Vertically level and lock off.
Install the dish on the pole. Now that we have the elevation already set, all we have to do is adjust the azimuth.
George is now running the cable, the dual run cable, up through the pipe into the area of the dish. Once the cable is close to the dish, he pulls the dish off, pulls the extra length of cable up, runs it in through the dish, puts the dish back onto the pole, and then he's going to pull the cable up and do a loop behind the dish that's at least a 2 or 3 inch diameter so that the cable isn't sharply kinked. The cable is then run up the opening to where it will reach the LNB. Now we can attach the cable to the LNB, the dual run cable. Each F connector is attached to its female counterpart. And he's going to use a 7/16 open-end inch wrench to tighten the coax onto the connectors, not overly tighten well enough so that it's snug. Once the coax is tightened snugly onto the F connectors, he slides the LNB onto the arm. Final step is to insert the screw to attach the LNB to the dish arm. This will secure everything in place, provide a little bit of waterproofing, and the dish is ready to be aimed. Once the LNB is secured, the cable has been run, we will aim the dish now to the approximate location that we determined during the site survey. Fine adjustment will occur later. Next, we run the cable from the dish to the ground block, and after that into the home, to the receiver.
When installing your dish on a chimney, you need a special kit. It straps around the chimney to the mounting bracket on a corner of the chimney.
Now the chimney mount is complete. The dish is securely attached with the straps provided. In this case, we were careful to keep the fiberglass ladder away from the power line. Power line's quite a hazard. This dish can be grounded to the conduit coming from the power line. It's also quite close to the off-air antenna, which is also mounted to the chimney. Here we could use a diplexer to join the signal from the off-air antenna and satellite dish together and use one cable to take the signal into the home. There's a certain advantage in that. In this case, the foot is attached directly onto the roof. Make sure all points of entry are well waterproofed, and then attach the bolts securely into the rafters.
I'm going to place the mount over the holes and screw them in. Now that I have all the lags secured, I'm going to level the pole itself, so we'll make it ready to mount the dish. Okay, now that I got the pole level, I'm going to mount the dish and swing it around to an approximate place where the satellite is. We'll run our cable and find our signal. What we have here is a siding that has nice lines telling us where to place the mount. It's set up for 16-inch centers or 24-inch centers, which makes it real nice. I'm going to drill the holes. Now that we got all the lags in, we want to level the pole just like we do on any other installation. And tighten the mount. Once the mount is tightened, we can get the dish and put it on the pole. Now that we have the pole level, we'll place the dish on the pole and get ready for running the cable and putting the L&B in. Now that we've run the coax to the L&B, attached to the ground cable, ran it to a secured place, we have this installation complete.
When mounting your dish on a pole, select a site convenient to safe access and clear of sprinkler pipes. Dig a 2.5 to 3 foot deep hole and then a 12-inch deep trench for your conduit run. We have drilled 1/2-inch holes in the pole and inserted short lengths of pipe or rebar. This is to prevent twisting when setting cement in the ground. Cement is poured almost to the top, allowing room for soil replacement. We have completed our cable run and will string cables through the conduit before the final placement and gluing. The ground wire has been run around the corner to a proper grounding point. This completes our installation.
We have now run the dual coax and the ground wire from the dish, under the deck in this case, and attached it to the wall, and have run them down to near the cable entry and formed a drip loop so that any water from rain or snow, whatever, depending on the climate you're in, will run down the drip loop and drip off the bottom and not drip towards the coax connectors. The ground wire is attached to the point at the base of the ground block, and the ground block is attached as close as possible to the entrance of the cable to the home, so that there are no places where power surges or lightning strikes will cause undue current to flow into the home. We have already drilled a hole for the cable entry into the home. In this case, we're taking one cable into the home. We've prepared for a future multi-TV situation. The other cable will be able to run to the second TV. We have now pushed the cable through the hole, the cable with the connector through the hole into the house. Next, we put a cable clip onto the drip loop so that the drip loop stays secure, and we now have finished the entrance into the home. The next step is grounding. Next, we attach the ground wire that is going to be attached to the ground point of the home into the ground block where it meets the ground wire coming from the dish. This is secured tightly to the ground block.
The other end of the grounding cable should be secured to a good ground source, such as pipes connected to your electrical service panel.
The level of the bushing should be above the snow line in cold climates to maintain the waterproof integrity. Now we are ready to hook the satellite in cable into the back of the satellite receiver, and also hook the phone line into the back of the receiver so the receiver will be able to communicate with the broadcast control center. The other end of the phone cable hooks into the telephone jack in your wall. And audio cables from the satellite receiver. In this case, we connect both the left and right audio jacks so that we can have stereo sound if the TV is capable of receiving stereo sound. If you live in the continental United States, and in some cases Alaska or Hawaii, and you aim your dish properly towards the satellite, you will acquire the signal. The better you aim your dish, the stronger the signal. In this case, our signal strength is 82 on the RCA DSS system. This is considered an exceptionally strong signal. In those cases where the TV and receiver are too far from the dish or where you're alone doing the installation, a helpful hint might be to take a small portable television and your receiver outdoors and actually listen to the sound from the TV and perhaps even see the screen while you're aiming the dish.
After adjusting both azimuth and elevation settings to the strongest signal, tighten all connections.